morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious, and that life is treating you most deliciously. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 8, 6, 4. Margie's little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes. Okay, so they say, that doesn't mean no. Sorry, I'm just going to say the weather at the moment, the sky's looking very light. I'm pretty sure, I could see sleet earlier, like it was sleeting. My delicious little babies now then. It's, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it's nearly 1:45 in the afternoon. Now, it's supposed to be New Year's Day, 2026. But anybody who celebrates, me personally, it's just another day, okay? But anybody who celebrates, well, a happy fake New Year to you all, my delicious little babies, okay? I have a feeling that it's 2027. And I've been saying it now for days. I feel like it is 2027, okay? Not 2026. Now then, I've got to tell you this. So I bumped into our beautiful dear neighbour up the road, not in that way, bless her. And I said, I'd only seen her all morning. I mean, I remember, like, you go back years ago, before the old pandemic, my delicious babies, and there was all signs of a laugh, but not anymore, my delicious baby. In fact, it's getting worse and worse. There we are, in my view. Okay. I'm very pleased, actually. I just got to cut this bit, not in literal terms, I'm pleased that others are seeing it. Like, there's videos coming up on YouTube that the new year and everything is one big fat effing lie. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, the point of the matter is this, getting back to the matter in hand. So I bumped into me beautiful dear little neighbour, bless her, okay, and she said that her husband has bought himself a telescope so that he can look for aliens. Okay, my delicious little babies, well, that just made me flipping howl. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, anyway. So we give it, I give her a hug because she had her hands full, because usually we always give each other a hug, not in that way. And I said, have you noticed? I said, if you get years ago, before the old pandemic, I said it was nothing like this. And she said, yes. Should I notice? She said, and when I mentioned about 2027, she said, well, her husband said to her, he turned around and said, he said, what year are we in? So, I'm not the only one, my delicious babies, okay? But not everybody, there we are, gets me. There we are. Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? They do not get me at all. And the thing is, for those who know me and my beautiful dear little friends and so forth, okay, and my beautiful dear little neighbours, bless them, okay, there we are, they get me, okay. So sometimes they must think to themselves, oh, what she's talking about now, because I know a lot of things, and you research and then you look at videos and things like this now then. So sometimes bless them, maybe they think, well, what planet am I on? Do you know what I mean? Well, I'm on the correct planet, my delicious babies. But nevertheless, I've got beautiful dear little neighbours, my beautiful dear little friends, okay? But my beautiful dear little friends, there we are, they get me. There we are. Do you see what I mean? Okay? So there's nothing wrong with my model, okay? But the fact of the matter is I do not feel that this is 2026. Okay, my delicious babies. What's new, pussycats? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just have a sip of my coffee, please, and thank you. Okay, my delicious babies. Now then, what have I got for you? I've got some videos, okay? I do not know how long it's going to take to upload because they're taking flipping hours upon hours. I cannot find me red and black pen, my delicious babies, so I've got the purple one. Okay, it's like these multicoloured pens, red and yellow and pink and green, orange and purple and blue. I could see a rainbow, see a rainbow, see a rainbow too. Not today, my delicious babies. It's absolutely peeing it down, okay, my delicious babies, because they just like to throw sharp weather at us. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, my beautiful, delicious little babies that you all are, I hope that you have got better weather than what we have, okay? Because my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday, my beautiful little Maisie Moon are just resting at the moment, okay? Now then, I've got some things, okay? So I'll keep these jars, by the way, my delicious babies, okay? So later on, I'm going to get all this off. You know, I've got a special, I can either run it under the tap or I've got a special little pen. I think I paid about, that doesn't mean no, I think I paid about 6 squids for it. Yeah, it was actually. It was about 6 squids, ching, ching, ching. And what it is, you leave it on for a bit and then this should then come off. Do you see what I mean, man? But it's also very good as well, if you've got wooden floors, and things like this, it's very good for that as well. You just put a bit where there's a mark and then you just leave it for a short while and it just rubs out. Okay, man, babies. Anyway, what's the point I'm making? So we got the jam from which I can make my own jam. There we are, by the way, my delicious babies. Well, everybody knows that, who knows myself. But this is jam from Aldi. So let's just say Germany. Okay, my delicious babies. Then I've got a beautiful Irish cup. Oh, look, I've got a little spoon with it as well. Look at that. It's like a little porcelain spoon, and then you can, and what it is, that one there, that was a best friend. That was brought back from Ireland for myself, from one of my beautiful and dear and wonderful little friends, okay? So let's look Ireland, okay, my delicious babies. Then we've got to go to Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig. We seem to have excuse me, my delicious little babies, sorry. We seem to have quite a few pigs, don't we, my delicious little babies, if you follow me? And then strangely enough, yesterday, and I got out this tiny little bottle, little baby's bottle. And this here is like 19... Well, yeah, it's 19 and a half years old. My delicious babies, this is my little bottle from my youngest baby daughter, bless. Yeah, Avent. Okay, my delicious baby. So I just wanted, oh, my bloody cup nearly toppled over then. I just wanted to show you that, my delicious little babies, okay? So you've got Germany, Ireland, Peppa Pig, but you have to really pay attention to the wheel. Can you see the wheel? My delicious babies, there's a big wheel there. Can you see? Okay. And then, it looks a little bit like a circus, doesn't it, my delicious babies? Okay. I've had this plate for whatever o'clock, you know what I mean, for years, my delicious babies, anyway. And then, of course, you've got an Avent. Okay, my delicious babies, that doesn't mean no. So anyway, with myself, sometimes I talk in riddles, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I haven't made a video. Now, what's happened is I've had to borrow my cousin's flipping charger, bless him. So I bought this charger now for $9.99, my delicious babies. And what it is, you get the charger. It's called Core, C-O-R-E, yeah. Core, okay, my delicious babies, and you get the charger and you get the lead together, my delicious babies. Anyway, well, I thought, yeah, I'm back rocking and rolling now, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is with me with dog and burns and flipping chargers, my delicious babies. I buy probably 2 phones a flipping year at this rate, about 4 chargers a year, which of course each time can cost me between 10 and 12 squids, you know what I mean? Okay? But of course, that doesn't mean that. But of course, as we very well know, things are not built to last, are they, my delicious little babies? With all the crap that the flipping sold to us, my delicious little babies, okay? I remember the days when you looked at our country, you know what I mean, where we used to make stuff ourselves, my delicious little babies. See, stumbling there, rightfully so, anyway. But the point is, so I started to charge, and it would only go up to 10%. So it wouldn't move from 10% mark to Little Baby's car. Well, I was just getting really flipping racked off with it. Do you know what I mean, Martin? So I said to my cousin when he came back, okay, because he went out, visiting, and I said, can I please borrow your charger? So he said to me, he says, yes, you can, but his is like the original Samsung. Do you know what I mean, Martin? Babies? Well, my Dog and Bone Samsung, but you can use different chargers, okay? Anyway, so I started to use my cousin's charger, and it started to charge up. Now, he's using my charger, that brand new one that I bought, and it's supercharging, but it won't charge my Dog and Bones. What's going on there then? So I've had to borrow, So anyway, so I couldn't do anything. Anyway, because it's been like, that epoxy time of the year, my delicious little babies. Me, myself, I just don't even, do you understand what I mean, okay? It means absolutely zilch to me. Okay, my delicious little babies. That's just the way I am, because I've been spending, like I keep explaining, so many years, there we are, deprogramming myself. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so it doesn't mean anything to me. But what's really lovely as well is that you've got different nationalities, whether they're Muslim, and I want to point this out, my delicious babies, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Indian, because of course Indian, bless them, they do celebrate the Fair Crimbo, do you know what I mean? My delicious babies, but of course the Muslims do not, because they have a different Crimbo. So you see, when you see that there's all different Crimbos, what's all that about? Okay, my delicious babies, there we are, ding, ding, dong, dong, just a thought. But they've wished me a Happy New Year when I see the odd sound of laugh, and it is odd. Okay, my delicious babies, they have wished me Happy New Year, oh bless them, you know what I mean? So I just say, Happy New Year, Happy New Fake Year, and they just laugh. Do you know what I mean? Because they know me, my delicious babies, and I walk around my beautiful little room cheersy, because my beautiful amazing who can walk herself, okay? So anyway, so that's that. So I wanted to get that out of the way, yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen at the moment. And I thought to myself, oh no. I thought, am I going to flipping have to buy another Dog and Bone? More flipping expense. Do you know what I mean, Martin, babies? Just when you think to yourself, right, I've got a bit of change, I can get other things done, and then I thought I'm going to have to get a new flipping Dog and Bone. Do you know what I mean, Martin, babies? But with myself, I prefer, there we are, to pay cash. Like not get it on, like one of these networks or something like that. I just prefer to pay the cash because I know it's my Dog and Bone then. Do you understand what I mean, Martin? Babies, anyway. So I've got, how many videos have I got today, my delicious little babies, okay? Right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 videos, my delicious little babies, okay? So let's begin. Okay, my delicious babies, okay? You see, myself, I feel flipping hunky-dory tickety-boo. Mind you, I must be honest with you, my delicious babies. Yesterday evening, I'd had a few beverages. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? But I've got to say to you, I was safely in my cot. Okay, my delicious babies, that's what we call it, our old-fashioned Irish saying, okay? When you're in your cot. So you're aware with the butterflies and fairies, you know what I mean? So I couldn't remember any of my dreams, and because sometimes I can, you know what I mean, my delicious babies. I couldn't remember any of my dreams. I couldn't remember anything because I was just in the cot fast asleep. Okay, so I received messages from a beautiful dear little friends, you know what I mean, to say a Happy New Year. And to tell you the truth, I've never seen one of them till this morning, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean, okay? I was aware with the butterflies and fairies, I love it. And you just get that solid, there we are, that solid number of hours sleep. Shut up. It's banging, you know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah. So let's go for the first one. So this one here, my delicious little babies, this is capital T. They're all on YouTube, my delicious babies. Capital T, okay? Tal, then space, capital O, Oran, so it's ORAN, then space, capital C, clips. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Now then, so this uploader, okay, happens to have 25.1 thousand subscribers. Now, this video is only, over 5.5 minutes, my delicious baby, so it's not long, okay? And of course, I was looking for other videos, and then this one popped up. I think I've advertised these once before, actually. Okay, the video should read, Douglas Murray tears into Muslim woman for wanting to mandate the hijab. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'll just repeat that again for you, shall I? Douglas Murray tears into Muslim woman for wanting to mandate the hijab. Well, here's the thing. You see, for myself, as I've always said, I personally, feel very sorry. You know what I mean? When all that you can see, sorry, is their eyes. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, can? Especially in the blazing heat, when they're all dressed. Do you understand what I mean, okay? Now, I'm sure some women, they like to dress that way, okay? But the fact of the matter is, I feel that what was going on here, just to cut a long story short, because they're talking about face recognition, and everything, and they're saying that when you look at somebody, you should be able to have a conversation and see the birth race. Well, for myself, my delicious little babies, there we are. I totally agree. So I've got nothing against any other culture, whatever. Whatever they do is their own damn business, okay? But for myself, I don't want it to be like how it was if you go like to India and different countries, Pakistan and different places now, Bangladesh and things like this now then, okay? Where at one time in India, they used to be able to wear skirts and T-shirts, then all of a sudden then they slip the old sari in. There we are. Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? Now, I know that ones, maybe do not like what I've just said, but I do not mean it in an offensive manner. What I'm saying is that if you don't nip things, there we are, in the bud, then it comes to different countries, isn't it? And we're not a-wanting. We're not a-liking it. And I'm certainly not going to walk around, where all you can see is your eyes. So I'm not racist or prejudiced or anything for saying that. I'm speaking, there we are, my noddle. I feel that I've got, there we are, every right to, because nobody should tell somebody how to dress. Nobody should say anything. But this here, is making points. You've got the one side with the two women now, okay, where they've got, their religious headdress. And then, of course, you've got Douglas Murray. You've got another woman there or something. Then you've got the one who's presenting, whatever. But it's only a short video, my delicious little babies. But you see, this is what I'm saying. This is what we must do, because otherwise we end up in a situation where, let's just say, we don't want to be in another 10, 20 years, do you know what I mean, where, we're not dressed like how I'm dressed now. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? You know what I mean? We should be able to dress how we want to, okay? And nobody's saying that these dear women cannot dress how they want to, but at the end of the day, can they truly say on the heart to heart that they are happy? Because when I was listening, I was getting nothing across my shoulders. So, and there we are, and I trust my own beautiful spirit. Do you understand? There we are. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, but I got nothing. So that usually means no, my delicious little babies now then. But, well worth a little listen. But I'm not being offensive to anybody. I'm just done saying it. You will never see me dressed like that. Not a cat in hell's chance. Just an old-fashioned saying, my delicious little babies now then. So, the next one, my delicious little babies, this is called capital S, okay, soul, space, capital A, alchemy, okay? And this uploader happens to have 186,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies can. But, yeah, I've told you about Iran. Yeah, he had, I told you how many subscribers he has. And with anybody not in that way, not in that way. Now, this video here is just over 25 minutes long, my delicious little babies. And the video should read, January 1st is a lie. It's a lie. Liar, liar, liar. Bums on fire. It's a ritual that's controls your reality. I'm just reading my own writing, mad delicious baby. So I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? January the 1st is a lie. It's a ritual that controls your reality. Okay, mad delicious baby. So well worth a listen to that. Okay, mad delicious babies. Well, there we are. Well worth a listen. Okay, but like I said, I am really pleased that when I was seeing different YouTube videos, I never clicked on them, but you know, where there we are. Ones are starting to get it now. Okay, some are never going to get it. Okay, because they absolutely adore New Year's Eve. They absolutely adore New Year's Day. Okay, but they don't go back and look into. For myself, ever since I was little, I've never ever liked it. I've never liked the Fair Crimbone. I've never liked the New Year either. My delicious vibes can. Now, and even usually you would have heard like lots of fireworks and everything. Okay, my delicious babies, but there was very little. It's really changed. There we are. It's really changing, my delicious little babies can. I have a feeling we all know why, don't we, my delicious? There we are, little babies, you know what I mean? So we're not going to continue on about that. Anyway, the next one, my delicious little babies, but once again, like I say, well worth listening. Now, on the same channel, Soul Alchemy, okay, with spaces. This video was it 3 months ago? And this video should read, band interview. Seth reveals exactly what happens before birth. Okay, my delicious little baby. So I'm just going to, and that's just over 20 minutes long. I'll just repeat it again for you. Band interview. Seth reveals exactly what happens before birth. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay. You would have to, I feel, with that video, you would have to come to your own conclusion, to draw yourself to your own conclusion, my delicious babies. Me personally, do I feel that before we're born that we would be travelling and that we would want to come into a family, say, where I don't know, where the mummy and daddy are probably highly on drugs, bless them, or something like this now then, okay, where they're not being looked after at all, and, you know, they're not being clothed and fed and watered properly or anything, okay, my delicious babies. So I listen to the video, my delicious babies, and I'm always prepared to listen, do you understand what I mean, to different videos. However, do I totally agree with that? That, you know, that we choose our mummies and daddies? I'm not so sure I do. I'm not so sure that I'm believing of this. But you'd have to draw your own conclusion, my delicious baby, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest. Now then, moving on. So we have got China's, right, so this upload happens to have 1.58 million. So it hasn't moved. It's still at that number. Okay, my delicious babies. And this is capital S. I do advertise them sometimes. Okay, my delicious babies. Sir, capital S, Sepentza. I'll spell it Sepentza. Sepentza. Okay, my delicious babies. Okay. This here is just over 10 minutes long, my delicious little babies. Okay. Now, video should read, and it's only about a day ago this video was uploaded, okay? China, okay, back in the news again. China's EV car bubble is finally bursting. Okay, my delicious little baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? China's EV car bubble is finally bursting. Yes, my delicious little babies, because there's been absolutely terrible from what Winston was saying, there's been terrible, really awful accidents which have been very fatal, okay, which are not getting a lot of coverage. My delicious little babies, to do with some of these bloody Lego electric flipping damn cars. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Anyway, at the beginning of it, he shows where, you know, one's got a buffet in China and things like this now, or they sit on a wall or something and they just waste so much food. They waste so much food when other countries now, there we are. Well, why don't they try giving some to flipping North Korea? Do you know what I mean? Or why don't I try giving some food now to a different country? There we are, who needs the food? Instead of being so damn wasteful. The more and more I'm hearing about them, mad delicious babes, and like I said, I shouldn't even have to say it, but I'm not a racist or prejudiced cat. But the more and more I hear, you know, they're very ignorant, isn't it? Okay, you have to see it with your own eyes. You try your best not to waste food. You try your hardest not to waste food. Especially with the prices that we're having to pay. You know, just for a flipping loaf of bread or something like this now then, do you know what I mean? The fish has doubled, everything's bloody well doubled. You know what I mean? I eat fish and not meat. But even with the meat, my delicious little babies, if you go back decades ago, you never used to pay these kind of prices. And at one time, chicken used to be the most expensive because I remember being told that by my beautiful, how I love her so, my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, how I love my beautiful dear little Nanny and Grandad. So at one time, chicken used to be very expensive. And beef, you could buy, I mean, I love our beautiful dear little cows and chickens and everything. The point of the matter is, okay, you could get beef that's a lot cheaper. But now, if you go into a supermarket, no, it's very expensive. Ah, delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? So it's gone the opposite way, if you know what I mean, okay? So you cannot afford to waste. Do you understand what I mean? But when you see it quite blatantly, it make you damn sick, man. Like I said, when there's other countries who need food, there we are, do you know what I mean? And some of them have to walk for miles, you know, just to go and get water, or have to walk for miles just to a shop. You know, just a tiny little shop. Do you understand what I mean? And then you see this is damn rank, man. And there we are. And I'm just done saying it. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes? Okay? I just think that from what I can see on these videos, and I'm not being nasty, I'm just done telling it the way it is. The more and more I'm looking at the channels, I find it really hard to feel sorry for them, my delicious little babies, okay? I really find it really hard to feel sorry for these. And anyway, there's also footage on Sir Spencer, on Winston's video, to do with what's their clothes that you buy, Shein and Temu, and how many return. And somebody did a TikTok video, so he's uploaded it onto his channel. You should see all of the flipping returns. You should see it all. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? And the flipping talk about carbon bloody footprint and all this flipping sharp, my delicious little babies. Just look at it. You only have to take a look, please, and thank you, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? Damn right, man. Anyway, now the final video, my delicious little babies, okay? And then I'm going to be over and out, okay? This one here, this only has 5 videos. I had a look to see when they started the channel. I think it was 2025. I think it was around May. Very interesting. Happens to have 2.35 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? And capital O, old, space, capital W, world, space, capital L, ledger. Okay, my delicious little babies, so it should read, once tapped in, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest. This as well, I think, is this the one that's over 13 minutes long? Or it could be the one just over 20 minutes long. Okay, my delicious little babies. Old space, world space, ledger. Yeah, do you remember years and years ago where we used to call, especially in office work, used to call it a ledger? Do you remember that, my delicious little babies? It just sort of, you know, jogged me a noddle, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I'll just read to you, okay, what the title is. Why Tartaria, built bridges when no roads existed. My delicious little babies. So I'm just going to repeat this again for you, okay, please and thank you. Why Tartaria built bridges where no roads existed. Really fascinating little video, and it's all to do with bridges and things like this now. But what's also really amazing is in Tartaria, I mean, the size of the, what do they call them? You know, like the doors and everything. is colossal. Now, we have it in our Brummie Town Centre where the museum is, and you've got massive gates. So it's all very fascinating, my delicious little babies. Now, of course, for some of you, you may already know about this, but I just think these type of videos, they are very fascinating. Anyway, so that's the end of my video, my delicious little babies. So let's close my book. So we need to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies, and I hope that wherever you are, okay, that you're having the most beautiful and super duper day, okay, and how I love you so, my delicious little babies, my little honey bunnies, okay? And, yeah, so really, what's my advice, my delicious little babies, for today? Well, just be in whatever year you want to be in. So if you want to be in 2050, then be in 2050. If you want to be in 2026, well, I still feel it's 2027. Okay, if you want to be in 2030, no, because we all know what they're pushing for 2030, don't we, my delicious little babies, okay? So I don't really feel that anybody wants to be in 2030, do they, my delicious little babies, okay? Anyway, but just be what you want to be, and and if you do put the fake crimbo trimmings up and trees and lights and everything, put them up when you want to, take them down when you want to. If you want to keep them up till February, March, April and May, just do that. We need to get to the point, my delicious little babies, where you're not told, to sit down, stand up, twirl around, put your hands on your head, pitter-patter, pitter-patter. Do you understand what I mean, okay? Should be able to do whatever you want to do. And that is the best advice I'm going to give, my little lovelies, okay? So until my next video, okay, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies, and how I love you all so. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you so, okay? Yes, we're going through I don't know, it feels like one of these spinny sort of flipping tornado things, you know what I mean, my delicious babies, but never mind, there we are. We're still alive, we're still breathing, no matter what they're throwing at us. Okay, my delicious babies, so what do we have? What do we have, my delicious babies? Positive mental attitude at all times. That doesn't mean no. Okay, my delicious babies, love ya. Thank you so very much for any views, for any likes. Well, just for listening. You know what I mean? My delicious babies, at least I know somebody's listening. Okay. Love you. Take care. Thank you. Goodbye.